in 2
Oh, it
weeks.
creeps up on me.
Because the last Easter Sunday is the 31st, right? Or at the end of the month.
The last
Yeah,
Sunday.
the last Sunday. Oh, yeah. So, yep.
Well, hello, Jason. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. Did I miss the auditions?
No, we're just about to begin, so you're right on time.
How's it going, sport?
It's going good.
Do you come to audition?
No, I just came to watch and see how the program's put together.
Ah, a young man with an eye for the arts. I remember when I was your age, Jason. I had ambitions of being a great actress. But one day, those ambitions were cut short.
What happened?
Well, Jason, it was my senior year in high school. I was up for the leading role in the play. Sugar Cane Queen was the role, and it was a musical called Sugar Canes Have More Fun. Well, it was against me and my arch rival, Susie Tedwell. I, of course, were the better of the two actresses, but she, at the end, pulled a few strings, and she ended up taking the part right out from under me. Devastated, I never acted again.
At least not on stage.
I'm sorry, guys. That will be our last interruption. So are you guys ready to hear the new and improved story of the crucifixion?
Yes, we are very excited.
Yeah, you bet.
Make us proud.
Okay, let's get started. This year, we are taking the crucifixion story to the next level. You see, every year we tell the story of the crucifixion in the same old plain way. It's just boring. You know, we want to get the audience excited about the crucifixion story. You know, we want to draw people into the church. And what better time to do that than Resurrection Sunday? So, I think there are 3 scenes that we need to focus on. The first one is when the people tell Pilate they want to crucify Jesus and let Barabbas go. And then I think we need to look at when the guards are leading Jesus to the cross and to be crucified, and he can't carry his own cross, and they have Simon of Cyrene help him carry his cross. And the last one I think we should look at is when Jesus is on the cross and the soldier comes to pierce his side to make sure that he's dead. You see, each one of these scenes is going to have kind of a contemporary view to it. People who don't know the Bible, they think Jesus was a weakling for going through these hardships. But we want people to know and understand that he was strong and he was capable, even though he endured these things.
That sounds great, because he's manning up to show how strong he is.
Exactly. We want to show him strong, manning up, enduring these hardships. I'm going to ask you to put on your imaginations as we go through some of these scenes. Try to visualize it with me. When Pilate saw that he was getting nowhere, but that instead an uproar was starting, he took water and washed his hands in front of the crowd. "I am innocent of this man's blood," he said. "It is your responsibility." All the people answered, "Let his blood be on us and on our children." And then Jesus turned to the chief priests and the leaders, and he looked at them with disdain and rebuke, letting them know that he would soon have his revenge. And then he released Barabbas to them, but he had Jesus flogged and handed him over to be crucified.
Excuse me, Mr. Malcolm. Where are you reading from? Because my Bible doesn't say that.
I know this is the up-to-date version, so we want to show Jesus strong and powerful against the chief priests, elders, and the people. So let's get back to where we were. Now we pick up where they are leading Jesus away to be crucified. After they had mocked him, they took off the robe and put his own clothes on him. Then they led him away to crucify him. As they were going out, they met a man from Cyrene named Simon, and they forced him to help carry the cross. But as Simon went to Jesus to try to help him, Jesus pushed him away. And he gathered up his own strength and picked up his cross to carry it himself.
Excuse me, Mr. Malcolm. My Bible doesn't say that either.
I know, Jason, this is all new to get people interested in the crucifixion story.
But if you're not telling the truth, how is it helping?
Well,
You see, Jason, This just adds to the story to give it more flair. Right, Steve?
You bet.
See, this reminds me of a time when I did a play where they mixed Snow White with the Godfather. You see, it was called Snow Mother. And even though it took the original children's fairy tale and added some gangsters and the underworld, it still retained a lot of the original meaning.
Wow, can I see it?
Well, Jason, you can see it when you turn 17, but with the language and some of the violence in there, I don't think it'd be a good idea right now.
Okay, let's move on to the next scene. The soldiers therefore came and broke the legs of the first man who had been crucified with Jesus, and then those of the other. But when they came to Jesus and found that he was already dead, or so they thought, the soldier reaches up and starts to penetrate, and then, wait for it, Jesus pulls his arm off the cross, he grabs the spear, and he says, "You shall not hurt the Son of Man." And then what happened?
Mr. Malcolm.
I give up. Jason, why don't you tell us how the story goes?
We can hear you.
In John chapter 19, verse 34, it says, "But one of the soldiers pierced his side with a spear, and immediately blood and water came out." And in verse 36 it says, "For these things were done, that the scripture should be fulfilled. Not one of his bones shall be broken." And again, another scripture says, "They shall look on him whom they pierced." And it has to happen this way because the Bible said so.
Well, Jason, sometimes you have to do things differently than they did in the past to get people's attention today. Do you understand what I mean?
No, ma'am.
Steve, help them out to understand.
Jason, you might not understand right now, but someday you will.
What I learned in Sunday school is that Jesus humbly went to the cross to be crucified for us. And after being flogged, he was in so much pain, he was not able to carry his cross. And in verse 30, he says, "It is finished." And he bowed his head and gave up his spirit.
That was beautiful.
I got something to add.
Bravo, bravo. This kid has real talent. It reminds me of the time, well, I'll tell you later. Malcolm, under the present circumstances, we cannot accept the play as it is written because it's not scripturally factual. What we'd like you to do, therefore, is to go back and rewrite the sequences that aren't based on scripture, and then we'll look at it again. Come on, guys, it's time for lunch.
I'm sorry for messing up your play, Mr. Malcolm.
You didn't mess it up, Jason. Actually, you helped me.
I did?
Yeah, you showed me that if I try to reach the culture by being like the culture, the church becomes useless. It's like the word says, that if salt loses its saltiness, it's good for nothing, except to be thrown out and trampled by men's feet. So I tell you what, you and I, we're going to rewrite this play together.
Wow, I can't wait to tell my dad.
You taught me something else too.
What's that?
The church should always stick to the scripture.